Snipers using AK-47s attacking a California power station in the dead of night. An attack some are calling a terror test run that went virtually unnoticed until now. In a front-page Wall Street Journal investigation, a retired federal regulator describes the assault at a PG&E transmission substation last year as, quote, the most significant incident of domestic terrorism involving the grid that has ever occurred.
It was captured on surveillance video. You can see a brief streak of light, perhaps a flashlight carried by an attacker. Then come the sparks. They are bullets hitting the chain link fence that surrounds the Pacific Gas and Electric, or PG&E substation in San Jose, a station that feeds power to Silicon Valley. California Congressman Henry Waxman says it shows our electrical grid isn't adequately protected for both cyber and now physical attacks.
This was an unprecedented and sophisticated attack on an electric grid substation using military-style weapons.
The April attack occurred just before 1 in the morning. The snipers first went into an underground vault and cut telephone cables. A half hour later, they sprayed the substation with bullets for nearly 20 minutes, knocking out 17 transformers, according to PG&E. When police arrived, the shooters were gone, but they found more than 100 shell casings from a high-powered assault rifle. No fingerprints. It seemed like a professional job. To prevent a blackout, energy workers rerouted power, but it took nearly a month to make the repairs.
Under slightly different conditions, there could have been a serious power outage or worse.
It was a little-known attack, and it's not clear what the motives were. But now, months later, some are trying to bring it to the forefront, arguing that if similar shootings happen throughout the nation at once, collectively, they could take out a large chunk of the electrical grid, leaving millions in the dark.
Housley in Los Angeles. You know, there's a lot of threats, of course, our country faces around the globe and also here domestically. But one topic that's kind of starting to come out, it's been talked about maybe more obscure locations in the last year or so, but now becoming more mainstream, and that is our power grid and some of the threats it faces. And here to join us and talk about this threat in Washington, D.C. is Colonel Cedric Layton. He's a retired Air Force colonel, and he's also the president of Cedric Layton and Associates. You can find him on Twitter at Cedric Layton. And, you know, Colonel, this is a topic, as you and I spoke off camera just for a short time, that, you know, really people knew about in some circles, but on a grand scale, most Americans really had no idea. And it's just now, I guess thanks to the NSA chairman coming out and talking about it, but it really should be a topic that Americans need to know about, and it needs to be, there's some things that need to be changed, correct?
Absolutely, Adam. You know, and when you talk about protecting the critical infrastructure, you're thinking about, making sure that it doesn't work, that it works, I should say, in terms of terrorist attacks, that there is, nothing that can happen from a physical sense that would destroy our ability to get power, destroy our ability to get gas and oil and products like that. Well, what is happening nowadays is that the virtual world, the cyber world, is really becoming like the real world. And because that's the case, it becomes more important now more than ever to understand exactly what the cyber threat against the critical infrastructure actually is. And when you have statements by Admiral Rogers and others in a position of great power and knowledge and understanding of what this threat is, and they make these public pronouncements, it becomes very, very clear that these types of threats are real, they're growing, and they need to be actually weighed by the American people so they can make better decisions on what to do in order to protect themselves and their communities.